I know that most of us have heard about these genetic testing kits that come into a box, you just spit into them, and days after, you know based on your DNA where you come from. This is great, and they've actually implemented a new function in which you can know your risk of getting a certain disease such as cancer or type 2 diabetes. Now, my question for you is, even when we all want to know as much as possible about our health in order to take action, are these companies really allowing you to take action, or are they being rather deterministic? This and other problems have been found by our team in genetic testing companies. We want to solve it. The first one, as I've mentioned, is determinism. We don't think that it is fair for you to just stay with one single number based on one single test of DNA. And because our bodies change constantly, you're constantly eating different things, you're constantly changing your habits such as exercise, so why wouldn't your results change? And the other one is the genetic factor. These companies are only taking into account genetics where there are other factors such as the gut microbiome. And yes, there are companies that are focusing on sequencing the gut microbiome, but they're also being deterministic. So let's understand what the gut microbiome is in the first place. It is this community of bacteria, fungi, archaea, and other microorganisms that have a great influence in our health. And yes, they live in our intestine, in our gut. What they do is basically communicating with our brains through metabolites. They produce substances such as anti-inflammatory substances, and therefore they can have a correlation with obesity, with diabetes, even with how patients react to cancer therapies, with depression, and more. What we want to focus on is nutrition, because we know that in order to have the greatest impact, we need to go niche. It's been found through research that there are several types of bacteria that are specifically correlated with habits, with either healthy habits or unhealthy habits. So introducing Foodie, your AI solution to your gut microbiome problems. We are making it tremendously easy for users by creating a web app that basically takes the results that users got from gut microbiome companies. So we are not dealing with the initial steps of sequencing the gut microbiome. We're just getting those results and we are interpreting them. We're telling the user what it means to have a certain percentage of a certain bacteria and what that means for their health. Is it good? Is it bad? And then we are taking the next step by monitoring day by day what they eat. They just need to insert a picture of what they ate. For example, pizza, the AI algorithm will basically put that into the system and recognize how many calories does that have, and in turn the next step is actually based on what the user's input is, based on their diet, the AI algorithm will change the composition, the results of the gut microbiome. This is the true differentiator for us. So now I want to show you how Foodie looks like. This is Foodie, this is our web app, and this is basically the dashboard. There's no much time to show this, but basically here are the several things that we've introduced so far: French fries, pizza, and the different calories. You can see the date, you can see the hour, and many other data that is useful for analyzing this. And as I was saying before, yes, the difference is that we are not only going specifically for the gut microbiome and for nutrition, but we are actually changing the results that the user initially got. So for example, if they got 20% of a certain type of bacteria, but they're now eating differently, then that 20% could now be different. And so they don't stay with this idea of a deterministic point of view of their health. So our vision for the future is personalizing medicine by improving our AI algorithm and actually giving dietary recommendations to people based on their gut microbiome composition and how this is changing throughout time based on what they eat as well. And we hope to expand in the future to actually help people with different eating disorders. Now the question for you is, are you ready for a healthier gut with Foodie?